The triceps make up 2/3 of the arm, making it a very important muscle to train for full development of jacked arms. As the name suggests, the triceps are made up of 3 heads: medial, lateral, and long head. And they all share the same function of extending the arm, but the long head helps to extend the shoulder. This is why some people say they feel their triceps working when doing lat pullovers. Long head of the triceps is fully lengthened in this position and is helping the lats to extend the arm. This can be very useful to keep in mind to maximize your time in the gym and for building the most amount of muscle in the fastest way possible. Now it makes sense to work the triceps on days you work your chest, since the bench press will rely on the triceps, especially near the end of the movement, for full lockout. This 2021 systematic review and meta-analysis determined that there was no influence on hypertrophy due to multi-joint exercises before single-joint exercises, or vice versa, but noted starting with multi-joint before single-joint exercises resulted in more strength gains in the multi-joint exercises. With that to say, I personally prefer to save the tricep work for later in the workout after all my heavy compound pressing is out of the way. I find my triceps can fatigue out fairly quickly, and I don't want that to affect my chest gains. Along with this, the triceps will get worked fairly heavily on your bench and shoulder pressing, but these mainly work the triceps in the shortened position, meaning as you bend your elbow to lower the weight, the shoulder extends, shortening the long head of the triceps. As you press back up, the long head gets lengthened at the shoulder but shortened at the elbow, so it never gets fully stretched, unlike the medial and lateral heads. This is useful for overlaying the triceps with heavy weight, which can be important for maximum muscle growth. As far as isolation work for the triceps goes, this 2022 study took 21 healthy young adults for 12 weeks and had them perform overhead tricep extensions on one arm and tricep pushdowns on the other arm, both at a joint angle of 90 degrees to 0 degrees, so the range of motion was the same. The warm-up was the same for both arms as well as the sets and reps, 5x10 at a constant pace and with 2 minutes rest between sets, and the participants did this twice a week. The researchers also adjusted the weights accordingly throughout the study, according to the number of repetitions they did above the prescribed 5x10. At the end of the study, they used an MRI to find that there was a 1.5-fold greater increase in tricep hypertrophy for the long head in the overhead group compared to the neutral arm group. They also found a 1.4-fold greater increase in the medial and lateral heads as well, which the researchers noted was interesting since the medial and lateral heads are not affected by the shoulder position. They speculated that factors other than muscle length influence hypertrophy in the monoarticular muscles, such as the long head of the triceps contributing to the force production of the exercise. The long head cannot contribute as much force in the overhead position, so medial lateral heads had to help out more, leading to greater growth. Whatever the case, a 1.5-fold increase in triceps hypertrophy speaks for itself, even if the subjects aren't trained. One of my favorite exercises for training the triceps in this overhead position would be the lying overhead tricep swinging extension. I've been toying around with this exercise lately and it's been super fun to do and very effective. The reason why this is so good is because at the top part of the exercise, you don't have as much tension on the triceps, giving them a little break between each rep. The exercise also is the hardest at the most lengthened position and easier the more you lift it. This is perfect for any exercise since the more fatigued you get, the harder it'll be to perform the concentric or lifting portion of the exercise, so it's nice that in this exercise it gets easier. Make sure to set up like you would for a bench press, pushing the feet into the ground, kicking the bar into position, and ensuring you have plenty of space to go overhead. I like to try to keep my back flat throughout the movement so my lats can stretch out a little bit, but I don't think it would be the end of the world if you arch your back a little bit. Slowly lower the bar over your head, bending your elbows and keeping them as close to your body as you can. Pause for a second, then explosively bring it back up by extending your arms and elbows at the same time. Sometimes my elbow extension is slightly delayed from my arm extension, and that's to give it a little boost while the lever arm, aka my forearms, are shorter and therefore easier to bring back up to the starting position. You'll quickly find you can bump up the weights on this one from week to week when starting out. Another similar exercise that's highly effective is the lengthened partial cable overhead tricep extension in a half kneeling position. Standing can be a little funky to control, especially when dealing with the cable pulling you back. The half kneeling position can be easier to lean forward with and control the tug the cable gives. Set up the cable about hip height, grab the cable, whether you're using a straight bar or rope, turn around with it, getting into a half kneeling position, and lean forward with your body with your arms overhead. Keeping your elbows close to your head, extend your arms only about 1/3 of the range of motion. There are plenty of studies to show that lengthened partials result in equal to, if not greater growth, than working in a full range of motion. Take for example this 2023 systematic review that compared lengthened partial exercises to full range of motion exercises. We found that lengthened partials were favorable for hypertrophy in the quads, biceps, and triceps as compared to performing full range of motion for these muscles. Anecdotally, I find lengthened partials work quite well with these and also result in less systemic fatigue, meaning I don't get as fatigued when doing lengthened partials and place at full range of motion. It's the most efficient, quite possibly more muscle and less fatigue from exercising. Who wouldn't want that? I also toy around with a single arm version in which I do either standing up or in half kneeling to spice things up, and it's performed in a similar way to the double arm version. One final cable exercise that I use for drop sets and eccentric work is a single arm crossbody cable triceps extension. I loop my hand through the handle and grab the bulb to get a better grip on it. Turn your body to the left so your left arm is reaching across your body. You can brace your left bicep with your right hand. Now extend your left elbow and slowly return it back to that nice deep stretch. Then the long head of your triceps is lengthened across your body instead of overhead, which is a little different and can be a fun variation to play around with. You can easily add in some drop sets or cheat eccentrics when a weight in a given rep range gets stale, but the next weight up is nearly impossible to do. If you're really trying to maximize triceps development, you focus on performing tricep exercises at the beginning of your workout when you're the most fresh, and can also adjust compound exercises to bias the triceps more than the pecs. One very effective exercise for this would be the close grip bench press. Place your hands about shoulder width on the barbell and lower your arms closer to your body to really maximize the stretch in the triceps. Obviously, with the load being more on your triceps, you wouldn't bench as much weight as you normally would, so keep this in mind and really master the technique before stacking on the weight. To see the best way to bench press, check out my video on the best chest exercises that produce the most gains. I'll link it over here or in the description. Since the triceps get worked doing heavy pressing movements with the bench and shoulder press, I like to keep my reps for tricep isolation exercises in the 10 to 20 rep range for 2 to 4 sets. Up to 20 reps is especially useful for lengthened partials, as I find I can progress in reps fairly quickly with a good amount of weight. You can really lay on the volume for the triceps during isolation work as long as it doesn't interfere with your later workouts. To really maximize your time in the gym, pair these tricep exercises with a lateral raise or pec isolation exercise, such as the exercises in my chest video and shoulders video. Well, that's it for this video. Remember, the triceps are super important for the biggest arms you can build and can actually be pretty easy to develop on most people. Let me know which tricep exercise you like best in comments below, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you find this video helpful, and I'll see you guys here in the next video.